What's up, everybody? It's me, Erica, and this is your Real Housewives of Salt Lake City review. Can I do it right here? You all right? Okay. So, baby, it was a mess. I just have to say this. I don't know if I could be friends with somebody like Jen. I think she is irrational. I think she requires a lot of energy to be, focused on her. Um, I don't know if I could be friends with somebody like that. Anyways, Heather and Whitney are talking after the race car driving trip, right? And it was funny because Whitney said that Meredith called Lisa school zone Barlow because she was driving so slow on the track. That shit was hilarious. Whitney tells Heather that she really felt good about the conversation that she had with Meredith and Lisa and how they apologized, they forgave her, and they want to move forward. So she's like, I think we have a good chance for everybody to get on one accord tonight. And Heather is like, girl, I don't think so. And she said Jen still has issues. She has an issue with you, and she's still blaming you. And so Whitney says that she's two-faced. Yeah, I would agree. Two-faced. Yeah, you say one thing with one face and you say something different with another face. I agree. Jen and Meredith and Lisa, they are coming in. They're going to have dinner later on. And she tells, they tell Jen that they had a good time with Whitney. And that's not going over well with her because she's still mad at Whitney. So in her mind, because you have forgiven her, that means that you're now her friend and you're not her friend. It's just very juvenile. It's super, super juvenile. And she says, well, Whitney apologized. That's the reason why we're cool now, because she apologized. And then Meredith says, the best apology is change behavior, basically, is what she said. And she's like, Jen is still upset. And she's like, but there are other issues. And she was like, well, I think that Whitney it could be accountable. And she apologized. She was like, so how are you good with her? She's like, she said sorry. She said sorry, and that's what I'm going to give her. And then she says something about them defending Mary. And why are you defending Mary? It doesn't matter. You are my friends. I'm not okay with her lying. And it's like, Whitney didn't lie. Like, literally, Whitney did not lie about anything. She was the messenger. She delivered a message from Mary to Jen when she should have went to Barlow and Marks and said to them, hey, Mary told me that y'all said that you're afraid of Jen. Is that true? Then Jen wouldn't have even had to know about it at all. I mean, if they wanted to tell her, but the issue should have been straightened out between the person who said it and the people who said that they said it, right? Mary, Lisa, and Meredith. That's who should have been talked to. Jen is still upset because she feels like, because it happened at her husband's party, and that her telling her made her act in that way, it's caused damage in their marriage that was probably already there. I don't think that anybody could do anything that probably wasn't already there. I'm just saying. Well, just be on Mary and Whitney's side. This idea that because somebody is accepting an apology or because somebody has a different perspective than you, that all of a sudden they're taking sides. I don't know what they call that when people do that, but it's very childish, and I don't think anybody wants to deal with anything like that. That's just how I feel. And that's when they said we're not on anybody's side, and then she starts yelling. Meredith says, I'm excusing myself. I'm disengaging. You don't get to tell me who to be friends with. And that's what it is. And she walks out. And then she says, well, I want to do what's right. So in other words, Jen believes that her behavior is right. And so she wants everybody to agree with her behavior when her behavior is not right. It's off balance. It's irrational. I don't think anybody's going to jump on board with that, no matter how good of a friend they are to you. I think somebody who's a good friend would not um, side with you or encourage you or support you when you're wrong, right? Or support your wrongness. They can support you when you're wrong, but not support the wrongdoing. Do you understand what I'm saying? I know you guys do. Meredith explains to us, in which Jen completely is not even thinking about, is that she has childhood trauma. She comes from a home where her parents basically made her decide between each other, and she always felt caught in the middle of these kind of intense conflicts. So she doesn't deal well with that. People have childhood trauma, and when in adult life, you could see how Jen is behaving that way because in her childhood I guarantee in her childhood she was allowed to get away with the same exact behavior. And that's why she's demonstrating it in her adult relationships. And people are not raised the same. I.e., when you start yelling, I come from a household where people yelled all the time. So I'm getting up and I'm leaving because I don't like anybody yelling at me. I don't like anybody getting aggressive with me. I'm leaving. I'm disengaging. So that's how Meredith deals with it. And she walks away. It's the same thing. It's something that happened earlier where Jen didn't kind of understand where somebody else was coming from. Oh, when Mary told her that she smelled like a hospital and that hospitals made her feel sick, and Jen took offense to it and thought that Mary was saying that she smelled like a hospital. You don't realize that Mary has trauma, and the scent of a hospital makes her feel a certain way. She didn't want to take that into consideration. It was all about Jen. All about Jen. It's tiring. So Jen gets up and she tries to leave. Lisa tells her, we're not doing any more grand exits, girl. We're not doing that. So she tries to get her to stay there and to talk about it. Whitney and Heather walk in. They walk in like, what's up, y'all? We about to get a party. And what's her name is Ari. They're like, fuck, we can't even have a drink before this bitch gets beside herself and starts acting like a fucking donkey. Like, girl, what's up? And she starts yelling at Whitney and Heather, pointing in their faces. At one point, she grabbed Heather or like slapped her hand or something, just out of order. And then she tells Whitney, if you want to talk, talk. And then Whitney's like, what the hell is going on? Then she tells Whitney, shut the fuck up. Girl, you need to get your shit together. This shit is ugly as hell. It really is. You chose a fucking side when she walks out. Lisa goes running after her. Could not have been me. I would have left that bitch, let her go walk wherever the fuck she needs to walk. Because that's the reason why she continues to do it, because somebody is chasing after her. That's the reason why she lied and said she left, because she wanted somebody to come chase after her, and nobody chased after her. She even said it, nobody called me. Nobody said anything. Yes, girl, because when you left, it probably became a peaceful environment. And once again, like Mary said, every time Jen leaves, we all leave hurt by her actions. And every single time they're in a group setting, Jen acts a fucking fool. And the shit is tiring. It really is tiring. Even with her and Heather going and buying the shoes. And Heather is like enjoying herself. And then you flip it into this argument. It's like, girl, what is your fucking problem? And you cannot blame your issues in your marriage, because I'm sure the issues in your marriage have something to do with your anger issues or your irrational behavior. I don't know if you need to increase the milligrams or the dosage of your medication, but something needs to happen to where every time people get together, we don't get this volatile, hostile, aggressive, angry, irrational person. It's really uncomfortable to be around. And I could imagine, and it doesn't have, to me, I saw some article in People magazine about Jen saying that white women, we know how white women do with black women and women of color by using key words and trigger words and charged words to describe the behavior of a black person. In this case, I don't think that it applies. I do believe that the word aggressive is used appropriately here. I really do. What do you guys think? Do you think that Jen is being aggressive. What do you think about Jen's behavior? Do you think that they are using these charged words to describe Jen in some kind of microaggression from white people type of energy? Do you feel like that? Let me know. Let's get down in the comments and talk about that. Heather and Whitney are standing there like, bitch, what the fuck just happened? Like, really, what the fuck just happened? And she's like, I'm shaking. She's like, I'm shaking too. They were like, I feel shell shocked. First of all, I'm just gonna be honest. I don't think Jen will pull that shit on black women. I don't think we would ever be able to see Nene, Kenya, Giselle, Karen, Candace. I don't think we would ever be able to see them behave a quarter of Jen's behavior. We would be going to town on them if they were acting like that. Can you imagine at every event they go to that Portia was acting irrational and telling people to choose sides and telling, going across the table and like, you said this and you said this, and then creating this incredible distraction? It's like, I don't think they would have been able to get with that. And I honestly don't think that Jen's behavior, she would try that on black women. I'm just going to say it. Somebody has to say it. Lisa is trying to be understanding and saying, Whitney needs to take accountability for what she did. And, I think it caused damage in her household. Whitney says, she said she forgave me. So I'm not sure what the hell is going on. And then in her confessional, Whitney says, Jen is full of shit. I agree. Girl, you are full of shit. Like, for real. Like, full of it. She's still hurt. And why is everybody talking behind everybody's back? And she's like, listen, she's talked behind your back and your back. She done showed Heather pictures of another man with Meredith. She has talked about or made innuendos about your marriage being on the rocks. And Lisa says, you know what? I'm not okay with that because I ran after her and I was trying to be her friend. And to know that she's saying things about me. What she said about Lisa to Whitney was, Lisa's gonna come after you in Vegas. And she's like, I'm not doing none of that. Like, what is going on? And I'm not down with the manipulation. The manipulation was saying that she left, right? And she really didn't leave. She didn't go anywhere. I thought she left too. What happened after that? So in Jen's room, she's talking about, she's yelling on the phone with Sharif. I'm sure he's like, honey, I don't have a pep talk for every single fucking time you call me, yelling at the top of your lungs because one woman wants to be another woman's friend and you want them to be on your side. And all of a sudden, this is just who I am and you should know me by now. And this is how I act with my friends. And I act this way and I treat my friends like this because I care about them. We hanging up. Don't nobody want to hear that. Honestly, don't nobody want to hear none of that shit. That shit is tiring. And I'm sure that your behavior at that party had nothing to do with Whitney at all. Whitney did not take your hand and throw that glass. She didn't. Whitney didn't open your mouth and squeeze your vocal cords to make loud noises come out of it. No, she didn't do that. So whatever happened after that, your behavior didn't have shit to do with Whitney. And you're just going to have to take accountability for that. In Whitney's room, Heather and Whitney and Meredith and Lisa all meet up. They talked about how Jen pushed Heather and was pointing in Whitney's face. She said, Meredith was like, I felt positive. I felt coming back from the racetrack. I felt like we were going to have a good time. You apologized and this and that. And then it's like too much. Then they show a clip of Jen telling Heather that she will drown Whitney in a lake behind her house because she told you that Meredith and Lisa said they were scared of you. That's irrational. That's irrational. Not only did you say that, but last week you said you would have slapped her. So I'm trying to see, did you just go on these tirades and say a bunch of shit? Are you trying to get a clip? What are you trying to do? I have never seen a new housewife act like this. I cannot attribute it to you wanting to be the queen of the show. I can't even figure out, like, what is it that you're trying to accomplish here? Really, what are you trying to accomplish? Are you do you feel threatened because Mary was added to the show and that's a black woman and you're a woman of color and you wanted to be the only woman of color in a group of white women? Is that what's going on? Because I'm trying to figure out why at every single group event you act like a toddler or like a baby who has a shitty diaper and wants to be changed. Like, girl, it's I don't. Mm-mm. And Meredith said, I just couldn't listen to her anymore. She says, by the way, Jen talks about your marriage. Meredith explains, hey, listen, me and Seth have been on and off for years. And when we are off, we see other people. And Lisa's feelings are hurt because she was like, I didn't know this about her. So I'm feeling hurt about that. She says, but we have reconciled and we're moving forward and there's nothing else to be discussed. Lisa says, it's always all about loyalty from the least loyal person. The perception in that was on point. Do you guys want to be friends with Jen? Lisa was like, nah, I'm good. Heather said, yes, she has some redeeming qualities and we all have that toxic quality in us and it can all come out at any time. And I'm the type of friend that I'm going to ride it all the way out with you. And that's what I feel that friends are. Lisa says, does she defend you like this, girl? And she was like, well, that's not, it's not about her. I'm that type of friend. That's the type of friend I am. Well, Heather, let me tell you something, sis. You're going to get tired of that shit. You're going to get tired of people hitting at you, running over you. She did all that shit and she just bought. Did she buy you those shoes? Because I'm trying to figure out what the fuck happened. I don't know. That was just too much. It's too much. They found out that Jen left, right? And I put a question mark. I was like, what the hell? We see Whitney stretching in her bed. We get a shot of Mary. Lisa calls her and tells her, hey, listen, you are lucky that you did not come to Las Vegas. And Mary's like, I already told y'all the bitch was crazy. So I don't know. Y'all don't want to listen. Y'all don't want to listen. Whatever happens to you, you deserve it. Because I've tried to tell y'all that the bitch was crazy. When Lisa tells Mary that she went after her, she goes, what did you go after her for? What did you go after her for? Why did you do that? And she's like, I just wanted to, talk to her and figure out what was going on. And she said, I knew that Jen would ruin the friendship. Our friendship. Well, that too, honey. I knew Jen would ruin the trip. And I told y'all about her. And how do you understand crazy? How do you understand crazy? We find out that Jen did not leave. When Heather goes to Jen's room to pick up whatever it is she needs to pick up, Jen is sitting in there and she's looking like, girl, I thought you said you left. To me, that was manipulation. Let me say that I'm leaving to see if anybody calls me to see if I'm okay. I don't have time. I don't think anybody has time for friendships like that, to be honest. That's just how I see it. She's like, everybody is freaking out. And she's like, I didn't understand what happened. She's like, nobody's talking about what's really happening. She's like, but you're mad about Whitney. And she's like, I need to know who's lying. Well, who is lying? Maybe Mary is lying. Have you ever thought about that? Have you ever thought that Mary lied or Mary said that, Lisa and Meredith are afraid of you just because she wanted to, or maybe she misinterpreted or misunderstood what they said? You don't have no reason to be mad at Whitney at all. She was like, you were aggressive and you were mean. And she goes, it's always me. Well, bitch, isn't that what you want? Isn't that what you want, Jen? You always want it to be on you. Every single group setting, it's always about Jen. That's what Jen wants. But what you're going to have to learn how to do as a grown-ass motherfucking woman is figure out how to get the attention on you that is favorable. Not the attention being on you because everybody is tired of your shit. Honestly. Girl, the fuck? And she's like, you're supposed to be my friend. She's like, I'm the type of friend that's going to tell you the truth. And Jen doesn't want friends like that. Jen wants people to nod their heads. That's why she brings that team of people, those yes men around her, because she wants everybody to nod their head in agreement with her bad behavior. And you're not going to come across people like that. And you're not going to tell me that I'm not your friend because I've decided to hold you accountable. See, I think we need to get out of that shit. So many people in this world, in our society, feel that if you're holding someone accountable, you don't like them. And the only time to hold somebody accountable is if you don't like them. Because when you do like them, you allow them to get away with fuck shit. When the truth of the matter is, if I'm holding you accountable, it's because I want you to be better than what you've demonstrated. Period. They go over this person's house that this girl found on the internet. I don't know where she found her. Whitney found some author who deals with energy work or something like that. So she wants to find our inner selves, right? I love this woman's house, whoever this lady is. I need to go back and get her name, but her house was beautiful. I loved the way it was decorated. I loved all the shit that was in it. I loved it. I loved it. They're all sitting down. They start doing some breathing exercise, and then Heather shows up, and then you see Jen walk in after her, and they're looking like, Lisa was like, girl, what the fuck? And then someone says the energy shifted in the room. You goddamn right, the energy shifted. Anyways, they were being good sports about what was going on. The only person who kept like opening their eyes when they were doing the breathing exercises or the little self hypnosis thing was Jen. So they start talking about people lying and feeling damaged and knowing that this is a safe space. So Meredith says, I don't appreciate you telling me who I should be friends with. I just don't. She says, you were aggressively talking towards me, and I don't deal with stuff like that. I don't allow anyone to speak to me like that. I loved it. Those are clear boundaries. You draw a boundary with someone to let them know where they need to stop with their behavior. And if they continue to cross that boundary, then it's up to you to make a decision on whether or not you want to deal with that. But you drew a boundary for a reason. And if the boundary is crossed, then there needs to be a consequence applied to that. And sometimes the consequence is dissolving a relationship behind it. Because I've asked you time and time again not to yell at me, not to get aggressive with me, and you continue to do it, so I'm disengaging. And that's what adults do. Meredith says, you were talking about my marriage. She was like, well, I'm loyal. She was like, I think you're being a little bit contradicting. I really do. You know, Jen's doing all this hemming and hawing. She doesn't know where to, it seems as though, it seems as though she's trying to figure out where something can stick so she doesn't have to answer for shit talking about Meredith and her marriage. She tried to apologize, and the lady's like, no, that's not an apology. You're putting conditions on your apology. That's not it. And so then they go around the table and ask who trusts each other. And they go, who trusts Meredith? Who trusts Lisa? Who trusts Whitney? Who trusts Jen? Who doesn't trust Jen? And all of them raise their hand. And so Jen is shocked, right? None of these women trust you. So when they ask who doesn't trust Heather, even when Jen raised her hand, I was like, what? Like, I was shocked. Like, girl, you don't trust Heather? And I feel like you were being a fucking kid and saying that just because everybody said that about you. The next person called, you were going to say you didn't trust them. Trash. She says, you preach this loyalty, but you're a shitty friend. You are being a shitty friend. It's beyond uncomfortable. Well, they don't know me in her interview. They don't know me. This is who I am. One of those people. What do I always say about those people? Person tells you this is who I am is a person that wants you to be okay with their bad behavior, right? They want you to be okay with their irrational behavior. They want you to be okay with the treatment, the bad treatment that they extend to you when you guys are together. They want you to be okay because that's just who I am. That's just who I am. No, we're not dealing with that anymore. You can be just who you are over there, bitch. She says, me reacting is justified. And Heather lets her know, our friendship is on the brink of dissolution. Just letting you know, bitch. And that was the end of the episode. That was too much. Jen, they said next week is the season finale. I'm trying to figure out what they're going to do at this reunion because Jen is a mess. Not likable at all. Anyways, y'all, take care of each other. Protect your energy. Let's get down in the comments. Peace.